So as Meredith said, my name is Seth Folkenroth. I teach social studies at Ann Richards Middle School, which feeds into Ann Richards, which feeds into Skyline theater pattern. Yay. All right. So going into your first year of teaching, you have many questions. Will the kids like me? Will I be good at this? And the question I had on my mind a lot first year, do I really not smile at all until after Christmas? We answer many of these questions after surviving our first year, but there is a common feeling amongst all teachers every August, a feeling of fear, anxiety, and excitement about what the school year holds for us. This feeling, or this fire in our bellies, is what unites us as teachers. From the first year teacher to the veteran 30-year teacher, this fire fuels us in our work. But what fuels our fire in the very beginning of the year? Well, that's simple. It's the anticipation of a new school year, the look of beautifully decorated bulletin boards and perfectly waxed classroom floors. But let's be real. The bulk of our fuel comes from all of those amazing back-to-school sales at Walmart. I mean, who doesn't love 1-cent pack of crayons, 17-cent notebooks, or a box of glue sticks for just 50 cents? I went a little crazy this year. But what happens when this fuel runs out and the reality of the school year sets in? After the first month, our bulletin boards get messy, the 17-cent notebook sales disappear, and the shiny wax floors become the victim of chewed up gum. At this point, our fuel might become literal fuel in the form of Diet Coke, coffee, or anything else that gets us through the days full of LOs, DOLs, PLCs, ARDs, and all of those other wonderful teaching acronyms you guys will become acquainted with. But what happens when guzzling unhealthy amounts of Diet Coke isn't enough to fuel our fire? And those why questions begin to set in. Why did I choose this profession? Why are my kids learning as quickly as I thought they would? Why is this job so darn hard? You strangely begin to relate to Zaria's fashion choices. Then it happens, that moment when your most stubborn student actually follows directions for the first time without being redirected. That moment when your lowest student gets every DOL question correct, or that moment when you foolishly tell your students that you will whip and nay-nay in front of the entire school if they get an 80% mastery on their next unit exam. So, you give them their unit exam, you grade their unit exam, and they get exactly 80% mastery. And you're stuck whipping and nay-naying in front of the entire school. Y'all, I will never live this down. I'm like going the wrong way, it was not good. My kids were not impressed. But y'all, these are the moments that fuel our fire during those tough days. The moments that make us laugh, the ones that make us cry, and the ones that make us laugh so hard that we cry. And obviously the ones that make us dance too. These moments fuel our fire so we can keep pushing ourselves to be the very best that we can be for our students. Pushing ourselves through the early mornings, the late nights, the data meetings, and all of the STAR prep. Pushing ourselves until we begin to fuel our fire by witnessing small but huge successes, such as Jorge finally remembering his pencil, or Joel actually putting his name on the top of his paper. The struggle was very real with the name of Joel. And those leading to bigger successes, such as when Vivian finally got an 80% mastery on her tracking quiz, and she begged me to take a selfie with her and her quiz for Instagram. Or when Ramiro, a student who I struggled with all year, wrote me a heartfelt letter about how he finally saw the importance of social studies at the end of our social justice unit, which happened to be the end of the school year, but you know, better late than never. Y'all, these are the moments that fuel us, and most importantly, they fuel our students. After the stress of the test is over, the summer is in arm's reach, and you finally realize, wow. Soon you'll be sending this group of kiddos onto their next adventure, and the doubting questions of why from October become the reflective what questions of June. What does the future hold for my kids? What can I do to help them through a college or a career? What does next year have in store for them? And what does next year have in store for me? I remember after my first year, I was asking myself these questions and standing in my doorway, and suddenly I felt the same emotions of fear, anxiety, and excitement. That fuel was back, and my fire was ready to burn into many more years of education. After a summer of relaxing by the pool, of course. So I'll leave you with this. Teaching isn't just a job. It's a journey of self-discovery, a lesson in patience, and a huge responsibility. And truthfully, it's not for everyone. But here you are. You have students waiting for you. You have the power to plant the seeds of change in your classroom, your school, your community, our city. However, in order to make this work sustainable, we need to continually fuel our fire throughout the year. As you leave this event today and step into your classroom in the coming days, ask yourself, how will you keep your fire burning this school year? Thank you.